You wrote A Dream of Dragons to fulfill a reading need for yourself. Were you a writer prior to this, or was this your first time writing?
I actually wrote a lot of short stories. I actually wrote a story for this one about 30 years ago when my son was born, and I had tried publishing these short stories and had not gotten any traction, but I put it aside when I went through difficulty in my life and then just started taking it back up again in 2016. But this is my first novel.
Okay. All right. So being this was your first book, well, now I see it's not your first book, but was this this was your first novel? What encouraged you or to believe you could write and publish this book?
Michael, you want to tell him what with Jody, how you?
What I had done in my life and my career is I'm a comedian, wannabe actor and writer, and I wanted to get back into stand-up comedy, and I had a monologue idea. I also do a geriatric Elvis comedy routine. So I met with this one comedian. Her name is Jody Miller, Jodi Miller. Her comedy is a little, well, very blue. But anyway, she meets with other people, tries to help them out. Long story short, when she was here in Vegas, we saw her show. I met with her the next day, and she just told me, you need to do this, And I came out of there all fired up. And the secret that I have, that I try to pass on to people, is just you need to get out there and do it. If if you're dreaming, we all have dreams, right?
Right.
When you're dreaming, you're not doing anything. There's no action being taken. So when I turn my dreams into goals, I came out of there and I said, I'm going to make this happen. I didn't know how, I didn't know why, I didn't know. I just was determined. I'm not going to stop until I make this happen and turn it into reality. So that's what did it for me. Next thing I know, I'm doing this Elvis. I had a costume made. I'm doing the Elvis real good. So I said, well, I started taking singing lessons. She had the idea of the book, and I helped her with that. And I was like, well, we better start taking writing lessons.
But to answer the question, what prompted me is when Michael started doing this, I thought, wait a minute, I want to see if I can write a book. And so it was his encouragement to do his dreams that helped me to follow mine.
So you had, I guess you can say you had support.
I had support.
So that's very key, because I know there's a lot of people out there who have dreams, but unfortunately they don't have the support. They have I actually was watching a webinar, a marketing webinar, and the person doing it introduced herself, and she started out doing event planning, and she started her own business. And she said one of her cousins, the one she respected the most, told her no one would want you to do their event for them. And she felt discouraged because this was the person that she respected, a family member who she was letting her know, I'm going to start an event planning business. And instead of encouraging her, she kind of discouraged her. But thankfully, she went ahead and did it anyways, and she became wealthy off of this business. And
wow.
Yeah, so she tells her story before she gets into the marketing to show people she has experience marketing. But it's sad that a lot of people do have dreams, and unfortunately they don't have that support system that says, well, try it, And so I've asked all the writers this question, is what encouraged you to write? Because a lot of writers are not, don't have the degree to write. Most publishers and most authors don't have the degree, but they do it anyways. Unfortunately, in the whole American dream system, most people don't live their American dream because they've been told, just get a job and accept what you're given and don't try to go after what you want to do. And so I'm glad both of you chose to follow your dreams.
Well, see, and that's the difference, though, where once I had a goal, you're going to run into obstacles, and you're going to have plenty of people that tell you exactly that, and when you're dreaming, those are dream killers, right? They come and steal your dream. I'm not dreaming anymore. I have a goal. You know what I'm saying? When I have a goal, nothing's going to keep me from that goal. That's, for me, was the difference. That's how I approach it in my life. Fortunately, I have a very supportive wife, but if I did that, I didn't have to have that. It was wonderful to have, and is one, but I have a goal because I'm going to run into a lot of other people, and I have that they don't like what I'm doing or whatever. I'm like, I don't care. I got a goal, so that's important.
And the support was not only why Michael is on this interview with me is because when I started writing this book, I asked him to read it. And he said, well, you missed some things here. You could put some things there. And I said, go ahead and put in what you think should be in there. And he ended up writing the book with me. So not only did he support me in writing the book, he's my partner in writing the book.
Good. That's the way it should be. So I read your bio, and you said you help others author publish their books.
Mm-hmm.
Give us 3 tips for those who might want to publish a book. 3 things you learned in your journey that you might want to.
Number 1, don't give up. Number 2, keep trying different avenues. If you have to go self-publishing. And number 3, get help with your book. Don't just write a book and publish it. Get help with grammatical corrections, editing, beta readers. The best thing you can do is to be professional about it.
All right. So what do your children have said about you publishing books, and did they read it, and what were their reactions?
My daughter read it, and she was one of my beta readers, as a matter of fact, and she was very thrilled with it. None of my other children have read it. We have 5 between the 2 of us, but my daughter was a big support for it. Our other daughter, I'm trying to think, I think she did read it, but she didn't have any comments on it. And the boys, they're happy for us, but they're boys.
Okay. And just a question not off topic. Was this, how was it published? Self or?
Well, originally it was published with a company called Tate Enterprises, which was it was a big Christian publisher, and it was what they call a hybrid, where we paid like $3,000 for the marketing, and then they paid for all the printing. Unfortunately, the CEO and the founder of the company were embezzling funds and were arrested, and the company went under.
Okay.
The second time that we're publishing it, we are publishing it with Gabriel's Horn Press out of Minnesota. So it is published with, it's a smaller publishing company, but much more service to it.
And it's a regular publisher.
And it's a regular publisher.
We're not paying them to publish.
Exactly.
Okay.
So,
It's a traditional publisher.
It's funny because when I tell people about publishing, I tell them about the original way of publishing, as far as submitting and getting them to publish for you. And then I talk about self-publishing. I never tell them the middle way because I haven't experienced it. And I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm just saying I haven't heard positive feedback yet about paying for someone to, like I said, I'm not saying it doesn't work, because I'm sure there is a company out there that does, but I'm still waiting to hear that good advice about doing it the middle way.
I would say no, because we found out that there were thousands of authors and musicians, because they also published music and CDs, and they had thousands of authors and musicians, and many of them got taken.
Wow.
And our book is literally to this day being sold all around the world.
Yeah.
And we don't get a dime.
Oh,
So,
wow. From them?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. So we lost control of it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have no control. We have no way of knowing. That's why we redid the books, so it's not exactly the same. One of the reasons. And then we're publishing this version of that book. So hopefully, where we have control of who's buying it and getting our royalties and so on. So.
Right. So name an author, dead or alive, that you would like to have lunch and conversation with, and why?
There is one right now that I would love, who's alive. And I actually took a class with him and was encouraged with an email from him. His name is Ted Decker, and he's a Christian author who writes very dark stuff, and which is what I tend to lean towards. And I would love to sit down and talk to him about how he deals with that.
Okay.
So that would be one.
For
Yeah.
me, it would be Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. I'm a big Sherlock Holmes fan. It was funny when you said, I was thinking it'd be either that or Ray Bradbury, because I read both of them growing up. So, I mean, you got science fiction and you got detectives, but it would definitely be Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. He just had a great way. He as you may or may not know, the stories were published in a magazine in little pieces, and so in that little space of time, he could say so much, and that's what I loved about it. He draws you in, and you're in, so that's a real skill that he had.
I like, that was, I guess you can say, one of my problems in English class was I can say everything I needed in a short period of time, but the teachers, I never could make the amount of pages the teachers wanted. So, but,
And now they encourage that to be more succinct. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, I always feel like if you need that many pages to say what you need to say, then use it. But if you don't, I never understood why they forced a certain amount. I can understand if I handed in 2 pages, but if they said like 10 pages and I stopped at 8, I'd be like, oh darn, now what do I do? And I would usually just repeat what I said for 2 more pages, and then I would get a C, and on there would say you repeated what you said. Because you told me you needed 10 pages. Hey, are you a writer, a songwriter, a playwright, screenwriter, author? You write articles, poetry. If you're a writer, I want to sit down and talk with you. Go to my website, authorkcbell.com, and click on Writer to Writer interviews for more information. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this message.
When a naked, helpless woman washes up on a beach in Florida, Henry Williford reluctantly agrees to help her. He calls her Anne and is amazed at how quickly she learns to become a woman. As they seek to find answers to Anne's elusive past, every night Anne is plagued by dreams of golden dragons that soon become nightmares of black dragons, fire, and death. But they're just dreams, aren't they? When Anne's uncle appears, she gains the knowledge she sought, but at a horrible cost and with the need to make a terrible choice. A Dream of Dragons. Available on Amazon.com. For more information, visit LorettaKehoe.com.